Well, this evening we're taking care of some odds and ends. We've started fitting some of our styrofoam glue board into the bottom. As you can see, we don't have all of it. And we are coming forward here and have fitted a few of the remaining little pieces that we had to do to finish off our interior framing. We are very close to having this to the point at which we can put the skins on it. Thank goodness. We have glued our two sheets of 3mm together here to basically create a double thick piece for the back of our seat. And we've had some cutouts made, or we're making them, for cutting out the access holes to the rear compartment. As you can see, grain tear out here with a saw is really a big problem, but we went around this thing first with a utility knife, a couple of passes, and cut our pattern out first. And the result of that is that our grain tear out is only going as far as our cut. So when we start sanding on the inside of this, we won't have an unsightly mess. We'll basically have a nice smooth. Now that we've got our roughed out hole, we're finishing this off on a drill press with a little drum sander on it, and it will produce a nice clean edge on the inside. We can hand sand and make look pretty decent. Closing in on the interior pieces. This is our seat back, glued in place. Got a lead bar holding the front and some clamps holding it on. Glopped up around the back side, and then on a sort of afterthought, since it weighs virtually nothing, we decided to add a couple of panels in here to create a little flotation compartment back here. Also, we've lost tools in the back end of one of these things before, and your arm just isn't long enough to reach all the way back there to get it. So I think we can kind of kill two birds with one stone. Anyway, getting her close. Once we've got our deck on, and our cockpit sole, and the rear deck, all of our framing is going to be hidden. And that means we're going to have to trust to our feeble memory as to where things are hidden underneath that skin. So what we're going to do here is we're going to walk this thing from one end to the other so that we have a photographic record of where all of these components are relative to this set of tape measures that we have located on top of the framing. And in this manner, hopefully, if we have to find something later on, we can come back here and do this in a way that says that we don't have to rely on our memory to pull this off. Hopefully, we're regular wise guys doing this. Not sure whether that's going to be the case, but certainly worth a try. We had to use a flat ruler back here because we have to tuck back in behind the angle of the seat back at the top. But this pretty much tells us where everything is. Knock on wood, this will be helpful later on. And we're just about ready to start covering things up. We're getting ready to glue our rear deck on, and when we do that, of course, we won't be able to access any of this area. So what we're doing right now is we are basically pre-coating the insides of this thing in the event that our boat happens to go swimming. We don't want it to, but it's always a possibility. And if we seal these areas first, there will be considerably less damage. We don't want to add a lot of weight, so what we are doing is kind of putting it on like stain. We're just wiping on enough to get the grain covered, and smearing it around with a rag and sealing the wood up. Since this is the last time we can do it, it's a good time to take advantage of that while we can. Here's our first exterior skin in place and held on with tape, the same way that luthiers put the tops on guitars when they're building them. Works pretty effectively. If your fit is decent to start out with for internal members, we put some weight on here. Hopefully everything will look pretty spiffy when it's time to take everything off. We got the clamps and tape and weights off of our back end, and we've got it faired out basically around the bottom very carefully. And now we're sanding the top of our seat so it's flush with the deck. And then we have this interesting little scenario going here where we basically rack duct tape around the end of the sanding board so that it won't dig into the deck when we're trying to bring the back end of this seat down, where it seems to work pretty well. Doing this, you don't sand the deck, but you do sand the seat, so positive scenario. We're getting there.